Welcome back to another episode of Art Zone Travels. In this episode, we're reflecting on the past 12 months of living in our Zone RV Sojourn Caravan as we travelled around Australia. We'll be sharing our experiences, insights and thoughts on what it's been like to call this caravan home, and we'll talk through some of its features. It's the perfect way to wrap up 2024, and as we look ahead and start planning our adventures for 2025 and beyond, we are so excited. So, welcome to our reflection of living in our Zone Sojourn Caravan over nearly just under a year now. It's been a fantastic year, and we're filming this from the habitat at Noosa. It's one of our favourite spots we always come to when we just want a quiet, peaceful break. And outside, we're looking at all these beautiful big kangaroos. The bird life's amazing too here.
It's just fantastic. But look, we bought this van to do different things, to be off-grid. And but it really has delivered. We've been off-grid, out of the mainstream. We've been in deserts, we've been on sandy beaches, but not just for a day or two, for weeks, you know. So the only thing that brings us back in is really food, water and fuel. So in terms of the van, it has delivered what we wanted to.
Absolutely. What it allows us to do is what we love doing, and that is fully immersing in nature. And so this van allows us to stay out there in those beautiful remote locations for just so much longer. It means, you know, you get time to wind down, then you get the middle bit where you're relaxing, and you know, the last couple of days you're always thinking about packing up. So it's just fantastic. We're very, very impressed. So this year we have really covered some ground. So we began in mid-January, leaving Brisbane. We went down through outback Queensland, outback New South Wales, down to Sojourn, and then we enjoyed 10 days crossing the Nullarbor. From there we went across the bottom up to the southwest of Australia, up through Margaret River, Perth, then onwards from there, all the coastline right up to the Ningaloo. We spent weeks on the Ningaloo, so the van got really tested there with all the salty, crusty sand, but it loved it. It's what it's made for. From there, we did a lot of outback travel. We went into the goldfields, we went into the Kennedy Ranges, Caravan, the Pilbara, ended up in Broome. We did the Dampier Peninsula, absolutely stunning. And that was pretty much when we had to make a bit of a pivot.
Yes, it was pretty obvious to us that the heat had come earlier. We thought we'd get another month just travelling through, but it just hit like one day it was on. It was basically around 38 to 42 degrees. So we had a bit of a chat about it and we thought, nah, I think it's time, let's go. So we travelled back across to the east fairly quickly. And so we had a break at Hangarow, which we love, and we're now down at the habitat, and then we'll head to our home base Brisbane for Christmas, and then we'll head off. So last night we were just chatting and reflecting and remembering all the great spots that this zone has got us to, and it's quite amazing. We have had no troubles with this van, no major troubles, and we'd like to point out we are not affiliated with Zone. We're independent. We're just doing this YouTube on our own bat. We love the product. As you know, we've had 3 zones. So it's been just a great journey this year, and next year we're going to go forth again, aren't we, my love?
Looking forward to it. So yeah, we're just really genuinely happy to share of our own experience here, guys. So enjoy, and we hope you find something helpful in it. All right, so overall, we just love the aesthetics of this van, its elegance and its sophistication.
The outside is beautiful as well, but you know, underneath There's substantial work that's been done by Zone in terms of the chassis, in terms of the suspension, the cruise master airbags, the hitch at the front, the weights, the balances. There's a lot of thought that's gone into this, and you can really feel it when you're driving. It feels very solid and you feel very safe.
Absolutely. And I think too is having confidence in our van just means we feel so much safer. Yeah, 100% on that. With many of the remote places we've gone, we've had absolute confidence in our van.
Well, we have to. I mean, it's our life. You know, we really depend on this van to deliver, to get us where we want to go. And yeah, we wouldn't have it otherwise. And it hasn't let us down one iota.
All right, so what we're going to do is, first of all, Pete's going to run through the exterior of the van, and then a bit later on, I'll get you to jump inside here and I'll show you through the interior.
So let's go. Come on outside. So the sun's starting to set now, and all the animals are coming out. The kangaroos are feeding out there behind me, and there's been a myriad of little birds. So the curlews, there they are. I can see them over there. And now we've got the
Cicadas.
the cicadas. So folks, this is what it's all about when you're out camping. Okay, let's start at the front of the van and we'll show you all the different features. So what we've got here is a hitch. It's a DO35 made by Cruise Master, and we absolutely love it. So what we've got here is the hitch. It's articulated so you can move it this way. So if you imagine going down a bumpy road, that's exactly what it's going to do when it's connected to the car. And if we're going up and down hills, obviously a combination of both, then the hitch will then basically move and head in the direction and the movement of the car. Next is all the hitch gear that connects to the car. So connecting the van to the car, we've got 3 plugs here. The first one's the Anderson. This one charges the batteries as we drive along through the car. This one here is the trailer plug that has got the indicator lights, the brake lights, and controls the disc brakes, plus a few other things. And this one here is for the camera, so you can see what's behind you as you're driving along. So I've got this little locky strap here that I tie around the 3 cables and hook on so that the cables don't fall out and hit the road and then scrape. So if you've got a better idea, leave it in the comments below. That'd be appreciated. All right, so this is the electric jack. They supply electric jack, which means you don't have to wind up or wind down. So this is the switch. It extends and retracts, and you can see it's not working there. So they are going to replace that with another switch. So that is a little problem that I found with the jack. And then you've got a level on the top that you can use, or a level that we use in the van. So one of the things that we've got in this Caravan is a spot to put a jerry can. So yellow stands for diesel. So this is 20 litres. This is my absolute emergency if I get somewhere that there's no diesel, or they're out of diesel, or at one place I wasn't sure whether the diesel would be contaminated, so I kept going and then filled up with that. So that is a real go-to, and I really enjoy that. All right, let's talk some hoses. So this is our water hose, drinking water hose, that I use all the time. And I used to wrap it up, put it away neatly in the tunnel boot, but now the way this is designed, it stays there, it doesn't come out, and when I get to a place where I want water, I've got my hose. So this is the sullage hose, and it's quick access. You can grab it, just take it down, and then just put it in and roll it out. So that's great. Okay, so the other thing that we purchased early on was this red bucket. Now, it's just fantastic. In the old days, I used to have wood, and I used to stack the wood up, and then they'd fall over, and then the van would slip off. So this has been a go-to. It's only once it slipped off. That's because the van was on a very steep angle. It's probably my error. But you don't have to then wind the jack up and down all the time, which means that it's only moving probably only around 3 or 4 inches, or should I say centimetres these days, 10 or 20 centimetres. So it also minimises the work on the electric jack. So one of the things that we found when we bought the Sojourn is completely different sort of system at the front with the toolbox. And the toolbox has got this protection pack on it. So with Zone's design this time, this protection pack starts here, so any stones coming up from the rear wheels will hit here. And then it goes all the way around and covers such a big area. And then they've got these very big mud flaps, and you can see that they've done a fair bit of work because they're the ones probably that have taken the most of the hits that you can see. It's starting to take off the logo. It has had so much thrown at it. It's had rocks, dust, water, sand, rain, and it's protected the whole front of the van. As you notice, there's no stone guards, so everything hits it. I didn't get a stone stopper, we just didn't get time to get it, and there is no damage at all after going right the way around Australia. So it's quite amazing. And I think one of the things that I found that's really interesting about it is just before we filmed this, I decided I'd clean it. So I just cleaned it with soapy water and I sprayed it with tyre black. Now, lots of people use various things, but I use tyre black. It speaks for itself. It was a spray tyre patch and did it twice. So that's a tip. All right, the tunnel boot, the big tunnel boot. Here we go. So there is enormous amount of space in here to put whatever you want in. We put in tables and chairs on the top, and we put in our mat there, and then we've just got a few other things at the back. Of course, you've got to have your camp oven and your cooker, so that sits there when we can have a fire and cook a roast lamb. All right, so under the tunnel boot on the passenger side, they've got a tap which is placed perfectly. Our previous one was right underneath on the chassis, so I really love that. And also there is a spot there to put a air hose to connect into, use if you want to blow up your or air up your tyres, or if you've got some type of inflatables. Okay, so tunnel boot. Ours is a little bit different from what most people do. We don't have a slide with a barbecue and an air fryer. We had that with the previous Zone Caravan, and I said to Tan, look, I just don't use it enough. We've got a little gas cooker that we use occasionally. We've got the air fryer inside, so I'd rather use this as my little go-to toolbox. All right, so just a quick look at what I use every day. I've got the drill in here. I've got the tie downs for the awning, and I've got the screw-in pegs to keep the awning down. I always seem to be using, WD-40 and different things, degreasers, and that tyre shine I was talking about. So I just leave it there, that just sits there. And then these two here, one's for my cooking again, the fire lighters and the gloves, and the other one is for cleaning. So that's the main things that I use here. It's very simple, and then it changes all the time according to what's going on that I need to have in the tunnel boot so it's accessible. Alrighty, so let's have a look at the other side of the tunnel boot. Now, I haven't tidied it. I'm not pretending that it's a perfect setup, but this is how I generally have it, and it works really well. So this is the creek pull system that we use to fill up the van from our water bladder. That sits there. That's the fire pit, and that's where all these are supposed to go, but I haven't done that yet. And these are all the different bits and pieces and spare parts that Zone give us. And then I've got the handy axe for when we're chopping up wood to get a fire going somewhere. Nothing in behind it, that's it, nice and simple. If I can't see it, I don't want it. So this is the Starlink dish, and I put it up here. Now, I find that 80% of the time, I've actually got the right spot. It's got to face south, so I don't worry about poles or putting it on the ground. We've had a few people had there's run over. So usually I get it right, and then occasionally I'll chuck it up on the roof if I have to face south down towards the rear of the van. All right, so this is where your Starlink comes in. You just plug it in here. So this is the connection to the Starlink from the dish. So it goes straight in there, and then I've got the router or server sitting underneath my seat in the inside, and then it just connects up automatically once you've got it powered up. This is our power system here. It's a Red Arc Manager 30. It was put in the van last year around December 2023. So it does provide all the power that we need. Down here we've got an inverter that creates 240 for us to make cups of tea and coffee and use the induction. And then here, this is part of the solar charging system, and then up all through there's all the electrical. Since then, Red Arc has brought out the Manager 100, which gives 100 amps, because that's what it means. If you've got a 100, I'd love to hear from you, see what you think of it. Yeah, it works pretty well. We've just got to make sure that we keep on top of the power. So again, you know, part of the power system so that we can maximise our recharge, we bought this solar panel. This is a Red Arc one, 200 watts, and we love it. We had another brand and we didn't, but this one is absolutely cracking. So it gives us 200 watts more power, which really helps charge up the batteries. So this is how it folds up. It just folds outwards like that and comes together. There's a couple of magnets there. They won't click in because I've got the cable there. And there's a padded case for it, so it's really, really good. Okay, so you notice that I don't have the zone ladder. Now we had it in the previous one, and I kind of felt that it was stuck there and I couldn't use it anywhere else. I mean, it's great, it's fantastic, but I got something else and I'll show you right now. All right, this is it. This is my extendable ladder that I can put up right there where the zone one was, and I can get up on the roof, or I can get up on the third step and I can lean over and do my cleaning. But the thing I like about the most is that I can move it all the way around the van. I actually essentially don't get on the roof anymore. I know all the spots I can put it on the van around the sides, and I just get up there and I just clean it with a Van-Tech van wash, and it just polishes up fantastic. So this is something, you know, that we like, and I have used it extensively. All right, one little thing that I would like to tell you about is this light that sits here, this little black light. Now there's one on the front and there's one on the back. And like, when we got it, we thought, that's nice. But again, it's one of those things we've used all the time. If we're packing up at night, we can switch it on, we can see the car, we can see the tub in the car, and also we can switch the light on the back, and it works very, very well. The thing that I've actually liked about the most, because we are very remote in some of our camp spots and we are by ourselves, and I can hear some noises at night. Now I just grab my phone and I can use the Red Vision app and I can switch these lights on. I don't have to get out of bed, I can switch them on. So if there's anybody out there, the light will come on immediately, or if there's an animal. So yeah, quite like that. So Tan and I were just talking about the van yesterday as we were driving down here, and I think the thing that we keep coming back to is the insulation, just how cool it is on a hot day inside that van, and the opposite on a cold day, how it stays quite warm inside. The composite paneling is just amazing on these zones. So I just wanted to have a quick chat about the insulation of this van. Now, there's two examples, the hot and the cold. So we're at remote East Pilbara in Caravan Gorge, and all of a sudden it was 45 degrees. So there was nowhere to go. It was just literally either in the water or in the van. So what we found was that there was a significant difference in the outside temperature, and as we walked in the van, it was significantly cooler. Yes, it was still warm, but it was a lot more bearable. So it was excellent. Now the other thing was the cool time that we had down in southern Western Australia, around Albany and Denmark. They were pretty chilly. So again, the same sort of thing. You're outside, you're really cold, you haven't got the diesel heater on, but you come inside and there's a different temperature inside. It just holds the warmth inside. So yes, we had to put a sweater on, and later that night we put the diesel heater on, but it wasn't this hot, cold. It was this moderation that we really, really liked. Now, we picked up the van, and this is about a year ago, and friends of ours said, you should get Vantech. And I thought, well, why? And they explained to us that it puts a ceramic coating over the fiberglass, and it's very easy to maintain. So we took it away, and when we did the first wash, I actually couldn't believe how good the Vantech was. They give you a product, a sort of van wash. You wash it on, and then you hose it off, and it looked like showroom. And in fact, I did it the other day, a week before we shot this. We should have, it was very clean then. That it did, again, looked amazingly new. So we got ours done a few days after we picked it up down at Southeast Fiberglass Services. They do a fantastic job. So look, hey, if you're interested, look them up. All right, a little bit about underneath the van. We've got Cruise Master airbag suspensions, and we've got disc brakes. So disc brakes we've got on this van. The previous one was drum, the Zone base. Absolutely love it. I absolutely love these disc brakes. It's got so much stopping power, and I feel so much safer in them. So it was a really good decision. Now we'll talk about the airbags. Now they have made such a difference to the ride. It is so smooth when you're going down some of these gnarly roads and you start to really feel the car bouncing around. You look in the rear vision mirror and the van's just smooth as silk. So we really like it from that aspect. But if you ask Tan what she likes the most, it's the leveling of the van. So you'll pull into a site.
Perfect. Straight back a tad.
And it's a little bit on a slope, and all we do is just use the airbags to level up, and we are just done and dusted. So one of the advantages that we've found with this is that you'll come into a place where it's maybe a little bit busy, or you'll come into a place where you can only get a slopey site. You don't have to dig holes to put your tyres in to level up. You don't have to chock up with wood or the wedges. You just basically come in and then just level out. Well, this is real life, folks, and it level out using a level. I've lost my plot now. Okay, the curlers have settled. They're having a good laugh at me, but you can go to some places where, here they go again. So yeah, so what it really means is you can get into some unlevel sites that other people mightn't go, and they're yours. You can grab them, or you can be a little bit off grid and be on a slopey beach, and you can level up, and it doesn't take any more than 3 minutes to do. So I'll just show you a little tip from a friend of ours, Jen, using how quick you can level up using a builder's level. All right, so these are the switches for the airbags. So this is the right airbags, this is the left. So if I push it up, it'll go up. If you push it, it'll go down on the right side, and the same vice versa. So if you want to level up, all you've got to do is basically control these two to do that. So we use it this way for lengthways of the van. So that's just controlled by the jack at the front and the airbags. And then we also control the left and right. We just turn it here and you can see that it's level. Okay, you probably gathered by now this is one of my favourite spots. In the morning I have a coffee and then sometimes I have a beer when Tan's editing. But I just want to tell you about these electric steps. They are, again, something we talked about whether we should have them or not, and we are so pleased with them. Pull up somewhere, you can then open them, go into the van really quickly, and you know, if you need to go to the loo or get a quick drink, you can close it up. So yeah, so Tan really loves these. It's just easy to get in and out of. And we sort of made ourselves a little promise that I'd get the electric jack, she'd get the electric steps, and we'd both get the electric awning. And the three of those have been seamless.
So one of the best things ever that we decided to option on this van was the electric awning. Hands down, the best thing ever.
Oh, 100%, you know. We argued about it and discussed it, and then we went, you know what? We're always on the move, always doing something. The weather's always changing, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. And you know, the thing we found was that in the previous van we did have the manual awning, which had its own advantages as well. But what we really needed for this year, being away a full year, living and working full-time in the van, was that we needed something quick and easy to put out and pull in as we were touring, because we knew that we were going to be doing a lot of miles, which means a lot of roadside lunch stops. Tell you what, this is what we love about this van, is being able to flick a switch and it is boiling hot. So this is where this van comes into its own. Just love it. I'm just pressing this button here and popping the awning out. Even though we're really only going to be here for about 20 minutes, it just gives us a bit of shade whilst we're working in and around the van. Absolutely love it. Just stops the sun coming into the van while you're having lunch, if you needed to be inside the van. But otherwise, sometimes we would cook outside. We'd do a bacon and egg wrap outside for lunch, and this thing was just fantastic for those roadside lunches.
So we've sort of learned as we went along the way about the benefits of it. And one of the things we realised that if during the day or the night that the actual wind gets up or the rain starts pouring in and you can feel the awning moving, is that you just go to the door and then you just push the button up and in she comes. And it's just fantastic. And then you rock back to bed.
Yeah, Pete's wrapped because he doesn't have to go outside anymore and get drenched trying to pull in the manual awning in the old days. So we're just absolutely wrapped with it. It's wonderful.
And it's really reliable too. I mean, we've been on the road 10 months and used this, and you know, it looks like it's fragile, but it's not. It is solid as. It's worked every day for us, and it's been super, super reliable. So that was a big tick for me when we bought it. I was just wondering how it would stand up to the conditions we were going to put it through. All right, let's talk about the windows now. We have been down some very tight spaces, Windabandy, Yardie Creek, and the van can just slip through. But occasionally you do get some light scratch marks on the windows. Now, they're acrylic. So what we've found is that Dometic brings a product out. It's called acrylic polish, and it's a light rub and it takes them out really beautifully. It's not cheap, it's around $100, something like that, but well worth it in our opinion. And we have not got any marks on our windows at the moment because of it. So this is the outside kitchen. This is one of the features, again, that we really, really like and we actually use a lot. We use it every single day. So in the morning we're going to have our espresso coffee machine and milk frother here. We'll have that, and then in the evening we'll be cooking here with the induction cooker that Zone supplied. Tan will entertain. She'll create a bar here for friends to come over and have a drink. We'll have nibbles here, and then no one needs to go in the van. So it's fantastic. And then with the kitchen just there, you go in and there's the fridge and you can get drinks. Excuse me. Oi.
Like, guys, come on, we love curlews, but now you're just showing off.
So halfway through our trip, Tan got this commission to do an artwork piece for a brewery on Stradbroke Island. And it's like, oh, okay, how am I going to do it? And she went, oh, let's use the outside kitchen table. So she worked here for days on this, and it was just the most exquisite piece. So that's another thing that we've used it for, art. The other thing I like about it is that, you know, I've got a heap of camera gear, you know, so I can just get out here, throw it all out, check its charge the batteries up here. And at the end of the day, I do reverse. I actually put it on here and get the laptop out, and then I just download all the images sitting here and have a sneaky beer while I'm doing it, which is really good. So talking of a beer, it's time to wrap this up. So hope it was informative for you, you've enjoyed it.
Hi everyone, well, welcome to the inside of our van. So all I'm going to do today is just share a little bit with you about our experience after living nearly 12 months in this beautiful caravan, and how we've found it, and some of the things that I like to do to make the van feel homely, and some of the little tips and tricks that I've also found along the way that might help you. So these are just my opinions and my experiences, so you know, feel free to be inspired by some of my ideas if you please, and let's get started. So one of my absolute favourite features about our van is the lightness. In my interiors and all the homes we've had, I love uncluttered lines, spaciousness and lots of light, so that transfer into this van just beautifully, and that's the very thing that we loved about it right from the get-go. So the other thing that I love is there's plenty of cross ventilation both in the bedroom area, the living area, and in the bathroom when you have the shower vent open and the toilet window open. So it's just everywhere all throughout the van. I absolutely love that. The other thing is the amount of light. So I love the big windows in these caravans, particularly in the bedroom. Where we've loved that, for example, is when we've been camping. I'm just thinking of the Dampier Peninsula right now, where we're camping on a cliff and we could literally lie in bed and look straight out to the sea because the windows drop so low down to the bed level. Love it. So that's been something we've both enjoyed. The other thing that I really like about the interior design features of this van are the colour schemes. Just personally, I love that they're so neutral, because what that does is it creates a blank canvas for you to be able to then add your own personality to the van through small interior decorating objects and items. Some of the features I love to add a little bit of homeliness to the vans are these small cane trays. So they just are great for organising, so you can put keys, camera equipment, phones, brochures, whatever, all those little loose items that, you know, tend to sort of just fly everywhere. They can all be grouped in these cane trays. They're great. So I opted for the rock ash grey on the upper cupboards, the lower cupboards, in the bathroom and in the bedroom area, just to keep it all very streamlined instead of it all being so contrasty. How have I found this colour? Absolutely love it. It's very neutral, but it just adds a little bit of interest to the white overall colour scheme of the walls and the roof. But it's not too dark that it starts to feel enclosed. I've loved keeping this clean too. I just use a product called Co, and I just give it a light spray every couple of days and wipe it down. Absolutely love it. The other thing that I really enjoy is the bench tops. These are fantastic. Easy to wipe down. Again, I just use Cove for general cleaning, just for a general daily wipe. However, if we tend to put down a glass of red wine and you get the red wine ring on there, or I'll be cooking with curry and that yellow gets into the bench, all I do is just lift a little bit of gumption out of the pot with the chucks and just really lightly rub round and round in a circle until it lifts it out, and then just a nice sudsy clean chucks just to wipe away that gumption off the surface, and that's been absolutely perfect. I just wanted to say too, as far as cleaning the interior windows, mirrors, glass finishes, the front of the microwave, I just simply use Windex. It's been fantastic, nice and simple. Alrighty, so this is just something that I had to convince Pete to do. I had a thought about when we're lying back in bed, we're watching the telly, we've got the telly turned round. I actually decided I would go and get a couple of these European pillows because they are just fantastic for when you are lying in bed watching telly, and they just sit on top of our two sleeping pillows. And I tend to think that they fill out the space really nicely too on the bed. They're just great. The other small addition I had put in here in the bedroom is these little side pockets that just adhere to the wall. I just grabbed these from Drop Bear Storage and they're the perfect size, just enough to fit a pair of glasses and your iPhone and maybe your AirPods. They've just been great. So the other thing that I absolutely love is this little kitchen set. So you've got a lovely surface spray, and then you've got your hand wash, and then you've got your dish cleaner. These are absolutely beautiful. They're from a brand called Alive. I'm not being sponsored by them or anything, but I just absolutely love them because they're actually made of like a rubbery plastic, so they're non-breakable, and they sit in this nice little tray behind the bench. The other thing that's fantastic is that you can buy the refills and keep them in storage for when you're traveling long term. Love these guys. So another little tip to make your home feel homelier is to add small artworks. Now, some of you might know that Pete and I are both artists. So up here I've got one of Pete's small watercolours and one of my abstract arts. I deliberately decide to go out and buy very lightweight frames. That's really important. And I adhere them to the wall with some very strong 3M tape, which you can just pick up from Woolies. They can be taken off the wall too later on, but they really do add character to your van. It's really lovely. And I've just tied these in with the colour schemes that we have. Alright, so here's an unusual tip, guys. I wanted something to put on our seats so that they were nice and cosy in the cool weather, and that in the hot, humid weather you wouldn't stick to the seating. So I got online and I found these. They're absolutely amazing. These are real wool sheepskins, and so what I just do is I just pop them on here, tuck them in at the sides and at the end, and then I just put a pillow on like that, so tuck that in, and it just makes it again really cozy, and they've been absolutely fantastic. The other really cool thing about them is that in the cooler months and you're outside around the campfire and you want to stay outside that little bit longer, you lay these inside your chair and they just, you know, cushion around you. They keep your back warm and your hips warm, which just means that you can stay out around that campfire just that little bit longer. So with the cafe seating, we're still really glad that we've made this choice for a couple of reasons. One is that when I'm doing my editing, I can sit here, I can access the USB ports. I've got all my power underneath the table here, and it's just great. I can look out the window as I'm working. I really enjoy that. The other thing is that with Pete and I, when we're watching TV, we can, you know, just turn around, put the footstool up, put the feet up, and voila, there you go. It's just so comfortable. You've got an armrest here. We just find it super comfortable, particularly Pete. He's a daddy long legs, so he can put his feet out and stretch out at the end of the day. He really enjoys that. So yeah, it's fantastic. Hot water has been amazing. So with the Webasto diesel hot water system, I love it because I turn it on the dial, and within 3 minutes I've got hot water to use either in the kitchen or in the shower. The other great thing I love about it is that I can turn it on to a timer, so that if I want to get in and have a shower, have a little bit of longer shower, and I get out and say, for example, I forget to turn the diesel off, it will turn itself off. Speaking of being totally gasless, we did option up for the diesel heating system. Super impressed. So we love that about this van, particularly when we were coming across the Nullarbor, say early February, earlier this year. It was very, very cold. And so within a matter of 20 minutes of turning it on, we had a beautiful toasty van. It does not take long at all. It's fantastic, and it's very evenly distributed because you've got an outlet in the bathroom, an outlet underneath the table, and in the bedroom. So that's what we love, is it's really, yeah, even in its distribution of heat. All right, another absolute favourite to add to my many absolute favourites is this pantry. Absolutely in love with it. It's so good. Being able to pull it out and actually see what you've got instead of having to rummage through a cupboard is a winner. So the other thing too is, again, this is just a personal preference. When we ordered this van, I said to Pete, I want to get some really strong, durable storageware. So I got online and I found this Systema. I think it's the Ultimate. It can be very expensive, but I just hunted around and waited until they came on sale. I think I got them for 50% off at Spotlight, but that was just before Christmas last year. The reason why I went for them is they fit perfectly in the width of this pantry here, in these wire racks. They're stackable, so you get the medium containers, the large, and then you get small, and then you get small, tall ones. So fantastic, really seal tight lids. And they have been knocked around when we go off grid all through Western Australia this year, and they are fine. They've never budged. I've never opened the door and they've fallen over. Absolutely love them. You can also see what's inside them. That's the other thing. When we come into a town and we've got to do a quick stock of what we've got and what we haven't got before we do a grocery shop, I can just pull these out, have a quick glance, see what I've got and haven't got, and make my grocery list. So they're fantastic. All right, something else that I discovered. In previous vans with my pots and pans, we've stacked them this way. And I just wanted a different solution for these new pots and pans that we got to suit our induction cooktop. They are quite expensive, so I really wanted to look after them and make sure they last. So to stop them scratching and rattling around on top of one another if you're stacking them like that, I came up with a solution. I went to Kmart, good old Kmart, and I bought these storage containers. They're $5 each. Okay, so they're not very expensive. I grabbed some of those, and you can see that I put each piece of cookware in one of those. So it acts like a divider, and I just pop them in there like that. And as you can see, they're all separated. They're not going to get scratched, and you know, when we're traveling, so they won't rub up against one another. And it's great because when I pull the drawer in and out, I can see and easily access what I need. And I've also used these same storage containers for our other, like cordials and the odd couple of wine bottles and any other condiments. I feel better knowing that if anything rattles and it breaks and they leak, that these containers are going to catch any liquid. So that's just another great tip. Dinnerware. So again, I was on the hunt for something that was durable and that was going to just tie in with the neutral interiors. So I found these at Wheel and Barrow. So they are throughout your most of your shopping plazas throughout Australia. I picked these up again just before Christmas last year in 2023. So I'm not sure if they're still available, but if you go and check it out, you might find them there. They've been absolutely beautiful. I love them because they look like stoneware, but they're not. They're just melamine. They've worked really well with washing up, cutting on them with knives. And they're not too bad in the microwave, but I wouldn't really recommend it. Alrighty, this is another storage tip, but as well as an item that I have used absolutely every day. I sort of try to make sure that anything that I put in the van, because we do travel very lightweight, what helps that is that everything has a double purpose. So these are a set of bowls or salad bowls, fruit bowls, whatever you want to use them for, but they're stackable. So you get a lid on the large bowl, which can double as a platter, a nibbles platter. Then you've got another bowl inside that, and another bowl inside that, and so on. And then you've got a small bowl. What I love about them is that they stack inside one another. They are super lightweight. They match my colour scheme. I love them. They're just like a nice light grey. And they're washable, so they've got a nice gloss finish on the inside and a matte finish on the outside. But as you can see, I just use this one for my fruit bowl in the kitchen. You can use them for salad bowls, mixing bowls, anything. They are just fantastic. So the brand is called Styleware, guys. So yeah, and again, I'm not associated with these guys, but it's just a product that I love. So yeah, go check it out. PU leather in the charcoal. Again, really pleased with the colour choice. It doesn't show any marks. It's worn super well over the 12 months. And to clean it, it is just so easy. I just use a warm sudsy cloth and give it a wipe down, and then just get a really soft microfiber towel afterwards and just dry it up and polish it off. It's just beautiful. Really happy with it. Okay, so the induction cooktop. We absolutely love the electrics in this van and the fact that it's all gasless in the interior. The reason why personally I love this so much is that it's completely flat, so it does extend your workable area on the bench top. I usually just put a lightweight chopping board on top if I'm working in this space. The other thing that's amazing is that it's just so easy to wipe down and keep clean. And it polishes up beautifully, looking nice and sparkly and shiny in your kitchen. It's just beautiful. The other thing is that it's instant heat, which is absolutely amazing, and that I can cook with a small fry pan at the back and a pot at the front if I need to use 2 cooking pots, or just my one big pan on the back element. They're amazing. I usually cook on about 4 or 5 because when you turn it right up, you've got to be really careful because it blasts the heat underneath your cooking pots. It's pretty powerful. So yeah, just watch that one. But overall, absolutely beautiful. Love it. All right, so let's talk about this van being dust free. It is 200% dust free. It is amazing. And can I tell you, most of the travel, off-grid travel that we did this year was on dusty tracks, not only dusty, but red, fine dirt tracks. So particularly when we were out back Pilbara, in the outback of, around the back of Kalgoorlie there in the Goldfields area. But also we were camping all along the Ningaloo coast with that really fine sand. And you know what? I just can't say enough. There was one track we went down in the East Pilbara. Pete was flying along and I was filming with my camera out the side, as you might have seen in some of our footage. I had the camera turned back and you could literally not even see the van for the dust flying up around it. And you know, I never have a concern. I never have to think, oh, will that dust get in? Never. Always open up the door to find immaculate. Not one tiny speck of dust has got into the van. Alrighty, so our toilet. So we've got the Nature's Head composting toilet system and it is absolutely amazing. We've had people who've come look through the van again and the first question is, doesn't it smell? No, it doesn't, not one bit. We're super impressed. So what we do is we find that it'd be up to nearly every 4 weeks we are changing it over. So we use a double bag system and dispose of that, and we absolutely love it. It's super impressive. Love this little baby. It's a little sweetheart of a washing machine. I really love it. So the reason why is that it allows us to do our washing when we're off grid. It is really efficient and it does a really good little wash. It's fantastic. Usually what I do is just choose to either wash a sheet, a couple of pillowcases, a couple of t-shirts at a time. I try not to jam pack the clothing in there, just so it allows the water to give it a good churn and get amongst the washing, give it a solid clean. This fridge is the biggest fridge we've ever had in our zones before, and we absolutely wrapped with it. Particularly the freezer size, it's great for when we've gone off grid, those longer periods, because it means that we can actually store more packages of meat or whatever we need in that freezer. So it means that we don't have to go into town or get supplies as often. The other thing is there's ample space in there, but I wanted to come up with an idea where I'm not having to rummage amongst the food in there and it all falling out. So what I did was, again, Kmart, nice little storage solution. It's a container with a little handle on the front, and I've just got a couple of those in there, and I just stack my flat packs of meat in there, or whatever food you have, and that just slides in there like that, so that when you pull something out, all the other food on top doesn't drop. So it's just really quick access. That's just another little tip. The other little thing that I love about the fridge is its location. So as far as quick access from outside, when you're cooking outside in the kitchen or entertaining, it's just straight inside, grab your drinks and your food and back out again. And the other thing is when you've just done a load of groceries, and it's just groceries straight in the fridge through the door. So whilst we've been on the road, we've had a few other fellow travellers want to come and look inside the van, and one of the questions that they always ask is, how often do you need to defrost the fridge? And they would also ask, is it self-defrosting? And no, it isn't. But that's not a trouble. We found that probably over the last 11 months, we've only really had to defrost the fridge about 3 times. So what we do is we just get out the hairdryer, hit that up, and in no time all the ice is breaking off, and you give it a nice wipe out and restock. So too easy. When we first picked up the van, we went and bought a whole lot of the fantastic Fusion lock accessories. In the shower, we put 2 towel rails on the wall so that we could have a place to dry our togs. It has started to rust, so just wondering if anyone out there has some suggestions for how you fit out your shower. So it gives you the ability to dry wet togs or have somewhere to hang wet clothing or bath mats and that sort of thing. So drop a comment below, please. I'd be really grateful if you've got some ideas.
Right, so I just want to talk to you about the process that Zone has to go through when things go wrong. So one of the first things they do is the handover. So 2 days up at Hangarow, Darren has a system up there where you go through for 2 hours and they explain everything to you. And then you can camp up there for 2 days. And in doing that, if there's any issues, any problems, he can come over, have a look at it. They have the shakedown. So the shakedown is 1,000 kilometres. You drive around, do your thing, and then you get your first service done, which is free of charge. If there's any problems there, they get fixed up. So as we went along, we had some issues. They are hand built, and we found that the system that they've got now is really impressive. Get in touch with Zone. That's what we did, and they were fast and they replied efficiently. So there's a ticketing system. So the first thing is the technical ticket. So this is where you need a little bit of advice about something. You're not sure if something's wrong, or you're not sure that there is a problem, or you just can't quite understand it. So You put a ticket in on the customer portal, and they're very fast to get back to you. Now, if they believe it's a problem that has to be fixed, they then get a system where you fill out a warranty ticket. Now, the warranty ticket is pretty much the same, and then they look at it and then they come back to you and say, yes, go and get it repaired at one of the service centres nearest to you. And that's the simplest way of doing it. So for us, we had 7 things that needed to be fixed, not big things. So I'll run through them, and I'll just explain how it went about. So the first one is we had water problems, and what happens is there's small shavings that are in the water tank from the manufacturer, and they get stuck in the solenoids. So we got that sorted out through the ticketing system. There wasn't any problems. I believe now that the newer model zones, they have a system where that won't happen, but that happened to us. Our water pump died, so it was replaced fairly quickly at Kalgoorlie, so that was no drama. We just put a ticket in and went down to the Caravan service centre in town, and they replaced it out. The jack switch, which is the up and down, was intermittent, but generally wasn't a problem, so Zone sent me out a switch, and it's very simple. We'll switch that out and get that fixed, so that was done. Probably the biggest thing was the toilet door. It dropped, so we had to get that fixed, had to get re-glued up, and that's all fine now. Again, ticketing through Zone. One of the windows came loose, and the microwave came loose from its for where it's screwed in. All really, really small things. And in fact, the last 3 things, we're going to get it fixed now that we're very close to the service centres. So in my opinion, I'm completely satisfied with the process. I'm very happy with the communication with Zone. Yes, we did have 7 things go wrong, but you know, it's handmade. You've got to kind of expect these things to happen. Zone tries to minimise it by doing the handover and the shakedown, but it was very good process. So just to wrap up, I mean, this is our personal experience. It was a good experience. The van has performed well. There was a few warranty issues, and it was something that was fixed and rectified really well. All right, so that sort of brings us to the end of our reflection, 11 months in this van full time. So I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you've got something out of it. If you have any queries or you'd like to leave some comments, please put them below. It helps us to identify things that we can improve on and answer your questions. And we'll head off again soon, and we'll
take you along with us. Secondly, guys, if you want to see where this van has taken us during the last 11 months around Australia, jump over to our channel. We've got some amazing YouTube episodes there featuring a lot of the most amazing remote locations in Australia you could possibly think of travelling. So jump on over and enjoy watching. Just want to say safe travels always, and keep on dreaming of those adventures, and take good care. Bye for now.
See you soon.
As we wrap up this episode, we want to wish you a very Merry Christmas and a joyful festive season.
Thank you for being part of our journey this year.
We can't wait to share more with you in 2025 and beyond. Take care, and we'll see you on the road.